Okay, I think we're ready to go. So what I did is I got my hot glue gun going. I got my vinyl out. To get my first two pieces, I've got my cardboard template, and I put this on my vinyl, and I actually just drew it with my pencil. So take your pencil and just draw it in. You can use the freezer paper if you want to, or and iron it on. Just don't make your iron very hot, but it will work just as well. But this is just as easy, so just draw it on. If you have trouble using a pencil, go ahead and use a marker, because you're not going to see it anyway when it's all said and done. So there is the piece. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. You're just going to cut it out. Since I've already cut two pieces out, I'm not going to cut out my bottom two. So my first two pieces are going to be perfectly cut out. My bottom two pieces I'm just going to cut around this area, but I'm not going to cut it out. And the reason why I'm not going to do that is because vinyl tends to slide a little bit when you're sewing on it. So I'm just going to cut it out and give it some leeway like this, so that now that when I go to put this on here and sew it together, I'm going to be able to have some wiggle room on there, so I don't have to worry about the vinyl shifting. So my first stitch is going to be here, here, and here. I'm going to leave the bottom open because we're going to have to insert our strap. Just as a side, I was playing with the scrap vinyls I just cut off to try to get, if I can get designer stitches on this vinyl with the walking foot. And yes, some of your designer stitches will work. This is the feather stitch. I don't know if you can see it well, but this is the feather stitch, and that works. This is the leaf stitch, and this would be a beautiful design. You could do your leaf stitch and then take your hole punch and put your flowers around the leaf stitch. So like on white vinyl, you can do a green leaf stitch, and then in between each of your leaves you can either draw a flower, or you can punch out a flower and use your glitter. Some of these other designer stitches, you just have to see if it'll work or not. This is the Egyptian stitch, and it did not work with the walking foot. The zigzag works, the three-pointed zigzag worked. It depends on your machine and what designer stitches you have. But that's a really cute option on these shoes that you should think about at least trying one pair of them in these designer stitches with the cutouts. Okay, so that's that. So we've got this is ready to go. So we're going to sew that, and now we've got to make sure we get our bottoms covered. So I'm going to take the bottom piece of where I cut this off, and I'm going to cut this off, and I'm going to give myself about, probably a little bit more than half of an inch all the way around my sole. And this is what I'm going to cut down and turn over to make my top and bottom soles. Just make sure when you do these that you do it in a pair, so you're going to have a right and a left, so you know, because you're going to need two of each for one set of shoes. So I'm going to take my hot glue. Now that I've got that cut out, I'm going to take my hot glue gun, and I'm just going to put a tiny little dab to hold it down so that I can secure it to the piece of vinyl. Okay. So that's that. Now this is an example of what you don't want to do to turn your vinyl over to the other side. You see how terrible that looks? You can see exactly where I made my cuts. You can see I cut way too far in, and I didn't do a very good job on this one. This is basically what you're looking for. You're looking for nice even cuts like this, and you're going to want to keep as much, you don't want any side view of any of these cuts. So how I did it to avoid this is I took my pencil, once I have this glued on my top, I took my pencil, just take a regular pencil and make a, lean this up against your cardboard and then just make a line about, it's anywhere between an 1/8 and a 1/16 of an inch all the way around the piece of cardboard and vinyl. Okay, can you see that? I've got a line there all the way around. It's probably, I don't have my ruler around here anywhere. Oh, here it is. It is probably a 1/16. Yeah, it's a 1/16. So I'm not going to cut past that 1/16 of an inch. I'm going to go straight in, and then I'm going to go sideways. Straight in, sideways. But I'm not going to go past that 1/16 of an inch. So that means that you're not going to see any of the cuts from the other side. I'm going to do that all the way around, and I'm going to secure this with my hot glue. So now you're going to take your hot glue, you're going to cut it all the way around, and you're going to take your hot glue and you're going to put that on the cardboard. Make sure you have some cold water or a bucket of water here so you don't burn your fingers, and then just secure that with the hot glue to the back of the cardboard. And you're going to do that all the way around. So make all your cuts and do all your securing so it goes all the way around, so that when you look on this side you see very few of those turn-ins. It's a perfect, if it isn't, you can take your hot glue gun and sort of heat that glue back up and just push it down so that you can get a smooth finish on that. Because you're going to have your strip anyway. You're going to have a strip of a 1/4 of an inch going all the way around the outside, so it's going to cover it up anyway. But you still want to make these as neat as you can. So 4 of these, 2 rights, 2 lefts, and that's how I did my soles. Okay, let me put this away. Okay, so we've got this ready to sew. So we've got our soles made up. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 soles for this pair of shoes. We've got our 2 pieces on top. We've got 1 on the bottom, and I need 1 more piece for the other shoe. So I'm just going to make a quick cut here. Okay, so now I've got my 2 tops, my 2 bottoms. I've got all my soles. I've got my 2 elastic straps. We are ready to go. Oh, I still have to get my strips of 1/8 of an inch trim to go all the way around the outside of the shoe. So let me get my sewing done, and then we'll get to that on when we get there. Okay, so there's that. I've got my machine set for the center of my pressure foot. This is that walking foot I was telling you about. I'm going to go ahead and get a screwdriver, and I'm going to show you how to get this walking foot on the machine. So I'll be right back.